Hi there, I'm back for the second half of Chapter 3, A Frog in the Mirror. Finally, Froggy peered through a small circular mirror and found a cook in the palace's kitchen. She looked exhausted and was placing a bottle of wine and 3 glasses on a serving tray. The cook must have felt Froggy's eyes because she stopped what she was doing and looked up before he could say anything. "Hello," he said happily. "Ah!" the cook screamed. She dropped the tray and the glass shattered across the kitchen floor. Her reaction was so dramatic it scared Froggy, and he impulsively ducked out of sight. He wasn't really surprised by the cook's response, though. His appearance usually gave people a fright. He couldn't imagine how alarming it'd be to see an enormous frog in a mirror when they weren't expecting it. "What's going on in there?" yelled a gruff voice. Froggy peeked through the mirror again and saw a soldier storm into the kitchen, but he was unlike any man Froggy had ever seen. The soldier was 7 feet tall and had an unusually flat, square body. The number 3 was displayed in the upper right and lower left corners of his armor, and 3 symbols shaped like clovers were set in a line down the middle. "Forgive me, sir," the cook pleaded. "I was fetching wine for the emperors when I thought I saw something in the mirror." The soldier glanced at the mirror, but Froggy ducked out of sight before he could be spotted again. "Stupid woman," the soldier said. "Quit this foolishness and get back to work. Any more nonsense and you'll be thrown in the dungeon." "Yes, sir," the cook said with a bow. "It won't happen again, sir." The cook quickly swept up the mess, placed 3 new glasses and a new bottle of wine on her tray, and hurried out of the kitchen. "I don't understand," Froggy thought aloud. "Who are these emperors? What happened to Chandler and Snow White? And where are all the servants and guards who usually work here?" Froggy followed the cook from mirror to mirror as she traveled through the palace. She entered the spacious dining hall, and Froggy appeared in the mirror above the large fireplace. He had been inside the Northern Palace's dining hall many times before, but he barely recognized it anymore. All the portraits of the White Dynasty had been removed and replaced with paintings of a red-faced queen, an old hag wearing an eye patch, and a pirate with a hook. The 3 people pictured in the paintings sat around the table enjoying a feast that could have fed hundreds. Froggy thought they were unattractive in their portraits, but they were even more hideous in the flesh. The barbaric way they scarfed down their food was equally unpleasant to witness. "Your wine, my emperors," the cook said, and bowed to the table. "It's about time," the queen yelled and hit the table with a clenched fist. "How dare you keep your emperors waiting? Do it again and you'll lose your head." "My deepest apologies," the cook said. The cook trembled in the emperor's presence and could barely keep her hands still enough to pour wine into their glasses. When she was finished pouring, she bowed and rushed out of the room. The pirate and the queen raised their glasses before taking the first sip, but the hag didn't join them. "Not for me," she growled. "I'm not much of a drinker." "To us," the pirate toasted. "May the 3 great emperors continue their mighty reign as the conquerors of the New World." "Hear, hear," the queen said, "and may our upcoming invasion go as smoothly as the last." The pirate and the queen clinked their glasses together and drank the wine in one gulp. The hag wasn't in the mood to celebrate and angrily threw a half-eaten lamb shank across the room. "How much longer will we have to wait?" she moaned. "It's been weeks since we heard from the witch. How cruel of her to tease us with such a conquest and then force us to stay put. Our army is ready. Why can't we invade the New World now?" "The New World?" Froggy whispered to himself. "What are they talking about?" "I agree with Westy," the queen said. "It's impossible to enjoy the luxuries of this world when we know that there are far greater pleasures in the other. What is taking the witch so long to contact us? I'm starting to doubt her competence." The pirate chuckled at their annoyance and twirled his mustache with his hook. "Ladies, your eagerness is sabotaging your judgment," he said. "Remember what the witch said. As soon as the portal opens, she will lead the other witches into the New World first. Once they've weakened the New World's defenses, and the New World's defenses have weakened theirs, she'll send for us. We'll charge through the portal and claim the New World for ourselves. It's a guaranteed victory if we stick to the plan. Patience is a virtue." "Patience is for peasants," the queen yelled. "Instant gratification is the only gratification for the powerful." "Allow me to finish the sentence," the pirate said. "Patience is a virtue we'll never need again. The final days leading up to the invasion will be the last time we wait or want for anything. As soon as we conquer the New World, we'll have the whole planet to ourselves and billions of slaves to serve us." I will rule the land, the queen declared. I will rule the skies, the hag announced. I shall rule the seas, the pirate professed. And that silly witch is in for a rude awakening if she actually believes we plan on sharing any of it with her. The emperors roared with devilish laughter like a pack of evil hyenas. Once the amusement wore off, the queen yawned so wide a watermelon could have fit inside of her massive mouth. Universal domination is exhausting, she said. We better start conserving our energy before the invasion. Oh, what sweet dreams await us tonight, the pirate said with a sinister grin. The emperor stood up from the table and left the dining hall for bed. Once the room was empty, Froggy started pacing behind the mirror, and 1,000 questions raced through his mind. Suddenly, Froggy spotted something moving out of the corner of his eye. Until this moment, he had thought the object in the middle of the dining table was a flickering candle. After taking a closer look, he realized it was a small and shimmering pixie stuck inside of a tiny jar. The emperors had been using her as a centerpiece. "Excuse me, young lady in the jar," Froggy said. "Can you hear me?" The pixie looked around the dining hall in a daze. Obviously, she could hear just fine, but she couldn't see who was speaking to her. "I'm over here, in the mirror above the fireplace." The pixie looked up and stared at Froggy like he was the most unusual thing she had ever seen. "How did you get in there?" she asked. "I could ask you the same question," Froggy replied. The pixie lowered her head sadly. "I've been trapped in here for weeks," she said. "At first the captain was using me as a hostage, and now he's using me as a decoration. It's so degrading. No matter how hard I try, I can't escape. The jar is shut too tight." "Then you and I are kindred spirits," Froggy said. "What's your name?" "Tinkerbell," the pixie said. The name sounded familiar, but Froggy couldn't remember where he had heard it before. "Forgive me, but I'm rather confused," he said. "Who were those awful people eating dinner? And where did they come from?" "Well, they're from different places," Tinkerbell said. "The Queen of Hearts is from a place called Wonderland. The Wicked Witch of the West is from a land called the Land of Oz. And Captain Hook and I are from Neverland." Suddenly, it clicked where Froggy had heard the names before. With every piece of knowledge he obtained, reality became much more difficult to comprehend. "Wait a moment," he said in shock. "I know those names. You're characters from the books in my library. The late fairy godmother gave me those stories as a gift. How on earth did you get into this world?" "I'm still trying to figure out where I am," Tinkerbell said. "One night I was flying through London with my friend Peter, and the next thing I knew, some guy called the Masked Man was kidnapping me." "The Masked Man? But how did he get into your story?" "He was using some kind of potion to travel into a bunch of stories," the pixie said. "He was recruiting characters into something called a literary army. The Masked Man used me to enlist Captain Hook and the pirates from the Jolly Roger. Once he had the Wicked Witch, the Queen of Hearts, and their armies of card soldiers, winkies, and flying monkeys. They invaded this world. All the kings and queens were dethroned and sentenced to be beheaded." Froggy gulped, fearing the worst for his family. "And what happened to the royal families? Did they lose their heads?" "No, luckily they all got away," Tinkerbell said. "The Queen, the Captain, and the Wicked Witch blamed the Masked Man for their escape. They were so angry they dropped him from the sky." "Do you know where the royal families went?" "Nobody does," Tinkerbell said. "After the Masked Man was killed, the witch approached the emperors with an offer to conquer a new world. One much bigger than this one. They've been so excited about it, they stopped looking for the royal families. The witch and the new world were all they can talk about." "Did this witch or this world have a name?" "I think they mentioned it once or twice," the pixie said, and struggled to recall it. "I believe the witch's name is Morgana. No, it was Moriana. And the world she was planning to invade didn't have a name, but she called it the Other World." Froggy went pale green and felt sick to his stomach. His escape from the mirrors would have to wait. Clearly, there was a much bigger problem at stake. "Oh dear," he gasped. "The witches and the literary army are going to invade the twins' world. I have to find Alex and Connor. I have to warn them." And that is the end of chapter 3. Chapter 4 is called A Subconscious Surprise. I'll see you guys for the next chapter. Bye.